glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast. That's about what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Look, oh man, this is rough. It really is. This sucks. It's not great. This is not fun. This is the opposite of fun. This is the opposite of what we were hoping for after this week 4 game. You know, you're hoping to be sitting at 4-0, 3-1. You know, all these games are winnable. It's just, this stings, man. This stings. The amount of injuries on defense that we've sustained. You know, the pass interference calls that we keep getting on crucial third downs just keeps shooting ourselves in the foot. And you know, and then having to turn to a rookie quarterback. We've seen what rookie quarterbacks in this league have done so far. Zach Wilson just got his first dub. And even that wasn't the prettiest W in the world.
Some nice plays by him, though.
It did have some nice plays. But look, it's just not good, man. You know, Trey had some struggles for sure. Offense continued to have some struggles after an incredible, what felt like opening drive, and us, the offense, looking like he was going to roll. Just roll through that first half and through that first quarter. Defense played great up until about that halfway mark. And even then, I still feel the defense did a pretty good job up until late in that game when mistakes started piling up and you got short fields.
When you started at the 10-yard line. I mean, come on.
Short fields. This isn't on the this again doesn't feel like the defense. This doesn't feel like this is on the defense. The defense did enough things to give the offense opportunities and times. Offense didn't execute when they needed to execute. And there were times where we were moving the football fine. And then you get to the midfield area and just things start going a little haywire. Guys, you know, miss some assignments, miss some blitz coverages, get some sacks. You know, just defense being aggressive and jumping on some stuff. It's unfortunate.
Well, let's not forget the momentum is killed a little bit by the fact we don't have a kicker. When Mitch Wisnowski misses that field goal that would have put us up 10-0 after a very well orchestrated drive is kind of slowed down by a blitz up the middle that isn't picked up by Laken Tomlinson. If that is picked up, Jimmy's going to find somebody and they're going to keep marching the ball down the field. And then once that field goal is missed, there's a different change in thought process of how Kyle Shanahan now has to approach calling offense. And it was very evident that he did change that. He knew he needed to do more. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities on that. You can still tell the running game is not there, that they're not being able to execute the run game like they want to, that they're just getting by. You know, they're making plays, making things happen.
They're doing enough with the run game.
No, they're trying.
They're trying to do enough,
but it's limited. You can tell they're not going into everything that they're supposed to do and want to do. They just can't. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the kicker being out does change the football game, because if you can go down there and you know that you can get in field goal range, the 49ers probably would have had a couple more field goals in this football game. But because of it, it's just not happening. And then Jimmy's out in the second half, and to me, it felt, and I don't know how this felt to everyone else initially, but it felt like the players on the field initially were kind of like, when Jimmy wasn't out there, it was like, there's not the same energy. When Jimmy's out there, it seems like there's a little bit of a crisp nature where they're in and out of the huddle. When Trey got out there, it just seemed like everyone was kind of like, here we go. You know?
Everything takes longer with Trey. That includes getting huddles, getting play calls in, getting once you're on the field too, him getting the ball out of his hand. I know people saw the people who are Trey Lance like staunch supporters, right? If you're a guy who loves Trey and hates Jimmy, what you saw to Trey Lance just now in this game is everything that you wanted to see. You saw him take a shot downfield that wasn't a great throw, and you're going to ignore the fact that he underthrew Deebo Samuel by about 10, 15 yards. Deebo had to wait for the football and then go make the play afterwards with his feet. Mm-hmm. You're going to ignore that and take, he made that throw. Jimmy wouldn't have made that throw. Jimmy would have thrown underneath. Wrong. Jimmy would have thrown the ball downfield because everyone committed on the in breaking route. And the thing that we talked about in this pregame and in the preview show, the thing we talked about in the game plan video, the thing we talked about on the All-22 film breakdown on Patreon, all of those things were about how Jamal Adams is trash dookie in coverage. And on that busted coverage play, he's trash dookie in coverage. He decides he's also going to run on the in-breaking route with Brandon Ayuk, even though he is matched up man with Deebo Samuel in space. And he's pointing at the safety, whose responsibility all game long, they schemed their game plan for their safeties to come down on in-breaking routes. You see it constantly. Quandre Diggs' pick is just that. It's just that it's him coming down hard and Kittle not attacking the football, waiting in space in his zone, sitting there. Jimmy threw him a little bit inside. Kittle's kind of hovering and fading, and Quandre Diggs is aggressive and goes after the ball, makes a play. This is a situation where Jamal Adams does a terrible job of coverage there, and Trey Lance is able to find the guy, and Debo is able to make a play, and it's great. There are problems, though. And right now, the Trey superfans, everyone who loves Trey Lance, he can do no wrong right now. You're ignoring certain things with what just happened here in the second half of this football game. Number one, Trey was pressured a bunch. And Trey was pressured a bunch, not because the O-line can't block, but because Trey's holding on to the football. He's missing He's missing open guys. Second, Kyle is having to tell Trey where to put the football in space. So you're breaking the huddle. There was a situation where he almost throws that pick, or Bobby Wagner gets his hand on it. The little hitch breaking route, correct?
You're talking about the one where he underthrows Brandon Ayuk.
Correct.
Where Ayuk starts breaking back upfield because he's sitting down in the zone and the ball doesn't come, and he starts to take off upfield, thinking it's scramble drill.
And he's got Kyle Juszczyk in the flats. Correct. They come back to the same exact play on the next play, and Trey gets it, plants, and throws right to Kyle Juszczyk because he's being instructed, hey, this is open, you need to take this. There are things with Trey. There are always going to be some positive things, but there's going to be a lot of negative. And right now, with Trey in there, he's not finding the guys that he needs to find. He's not getting the ball out quickly. So offensively, you're having some struggles. You're now going to insert a guy who is going to struggle to find those guys. There are times when the wide receivers are getting into their breaks, getting into their routes, sitting down in the zone, sitting in space, and Trey hasn't gotten rid of the ball yet, and they don't know what to do because they're not used to that. They're not used to the ball not being out quick. The other thing is the release, Ann.
Yeah,
the release is elongated.
It is. It's elongated, and I'm not gonna go down on.
I don't want to go.
Much,
no, it doesn't make any sense to.
But I will say this is that the first half was frustrating a little bit because there were opportunities for the 49ers to get a lot more points, and it felt the way the defense was dominating early in that game. The 49ers should have been up 21 points early
at least.
And it's eerily similar to last year where the 49ers would come out, they would stymie Russell Wilson. Now it lasted longer this time because the game plan was good. But JL is correct. We shouldn't have situations where Azeez Al-Shaair is covering DK Metcalf in the slot. That was a bad move. That was a bad scheme idea, and it didn't work out. And it allowed it allowed him to catch the ball in front of the safety and then power in for the touchdown. But all this stuff is just compounded by the fact that they weren't able to execute plays in this first half to score points and convert points. And if that happens, this game is different, number one. But second of all, I'm going to be very clear. Trey Lance will be a good player someday. That's not right now. Trey Lance isn't ready to go. Trey Lance has a lot of work. I think today was evident what Kyle Shanahan's been seeing. Once again, Trey Lance, he toted the line that he toted all during training camp. Was that it's about 50% completion. And he has tremendous plays that, eye-opening plays and great athleticism to extend plays. But he is, he's got some room. He's got some growth that he needs to do. Footballs are going to get knocked down from Trey Lance because the elongated motion is real. I mean, it takes a long time for him to get rid of the ball, which allows defenders to time it, get their hands up. It allows linebackers like
Bobby Wagner
a couple times to knock the ball away. Safeties to be able to press on the ball and get there. And to overcome that, he's trying to throw the ball 100 miles per hour, which you saw Deebo Samuel make an absolutely fantastic catch on. And that's a ball where he's rolling left. Trey Lance has got one heck of a cannon.
He does, man.
He's rolling left, and he throws that ball, and Deebo has to back end of the ball catch it. So, I mean, there are questions here. I don't think it's as simple as now it's time to roll with Trey. If everyone's ready to cash in and just say, you know what, we're calling this season a wash, we're calling this season a down season, we're just going to let the kid roll, then let him roll, because that's what's going to happen. You're not – people that are saying 10 wins – with Trey Lance, no. 6 wins with Trey Lance as the quarterback because he's going to win some games. He's got some talent, but there's a lot of areas where he's going to go 3 and out, and it's not going to look good. So if somebody's telling you it's going to be 10-7, try 6 and 11. If Trey Lance is a starting quarterback moving forward,
it's not a thing where Trey is not. I don't want to say Trey is not. It's not that Trey's not capable or not. Not. Doesn't have the ability to. He's not ready to.
Yeah.
He's not ready to. He doesn't know how to. The elongated throwing motion was my biggest Trey Lance hiccup.
True.
I've been saying this since the draft. I've been saying it since before the draft. That Trey Lance's elongated throwing motion is always going to be a problem. The same people who had that issue and problem with Tebow don't seem to have this issue and this problem with Trey Lance. And I don't understand why. Because there are times in space where Debo or a guy is breaking and sitting in his zone where he's supposed to be, or he's about to come open, and Trey is starting his throwing motion and then releasing the ball as our guy is settling down in the zone, rather than the ball being released as he's starting to break into the zone and the ball is getting there as he's settling. That's 2 to 3 steps. That's 2 to 3 steps that a defender can close in and make a play on the football. And those types of things make it really hard for a quarterback to have success in an offense that's all predicated on timing.
Yeah.
If the timing is off, you're not going to be able to complete those passes that Jimmy Garoppolo is completing over the middle of the field to extend on third downs. You're not going to be able to throw it necessarily into those tight windows all the time.
Right.
Yes, he throws really, really hard. That's great. But if he's releasing 2 steps late, that means there's 2 additional steps there for the defender to get back into space to make the play. Doesn't matter how hard you throw it. The guy's going to be there sooner. He's just going to be there sooner. That's just naturally something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Trey has technique things. Kyle talked about this in the preseason. Kyle talked about this in OTAs. They talked about this towards the end of training camp, that he had regressed a little bit, right? We heard those things. I'm seeing, not necessarily regression, but I'm seeing the old things in Trey Lance that made me concerned about him being a guy that you take in the top 3.
Yeah.
It's the motion. It's not necessarily the footwork.
Right.
It's the motion.
Well, I think it's interesting because M. Reynolds says the Trey bashing is funny. If we were talking negative about Jimmy Garoppolo right now, it would be telling the truth.
Yeah.
But if you are saying anything bad about Trey Lance, the Golden Goose, you can't possibly say anything.
Well,
and it's just real. It's absolutely real. You say the same things negative about Jimmy Garoppolo that you say about Trey Lance. 100%. If Jimmy Garoppolo was missing wide open receivers like Trey Lance was, you would expect people to say it. Now, I'm not even going to get into it a whole lot with Trey because Trey hasn't had a lot of room to get it together. Yes. You know, he hasn't had time and practice and all of that stuff. And I actually like the kid. But I'm keeping it real as far as like when Jimmy Garoppolo didn't go out there in the second half, it limited our chance to win. Whether that is because Kyle Shanahan hasn't got Trey Lance ready, or if that's because Trey Lance's motion is not there yet. And you see when the bullets start flying, his technique falters a little bit. That's just something it takes a long time to learn. We're not saying for 1 second that Trey Lance can't be a great quarterback in this league.
And no one on this podcast is saying that Trey Lance is garbage.
No.
The comment and the thing here that we're saying is that Trey is not ready right now. And 49ers fans who are clamoring for this, you're asking to put a 21-year-old kid who has some flaws in his game out there for the world to see and for him to get those things to get exposed. I don't like it. I don't want it for Trey. It's not going to be good for his confidence.
Well, it's like this. I'm just okay with it, right? If Kyle Shanahan decides that it's time for Trey to go in and it's time for Trey to play,
then it is what it is.
Yeah, we're going to roll with it. And what's going to happen though is people are going to understand that there's going to be a lot of lumps that he's going to take. You're going to lose more football games than you win. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. But maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't. I'm not 100%. All I'm saying is the same. We know what Jimmy's weaknesses are. He struggles to throw outside the numbers. He struggles to throw deep down the field. He's not as mobile. He doesn't have the arm consistently to get a deep pass on a line. But we also recognize Trey's weaknesses as well. He doesn't operate well over the middle. He's inaccurate at times. He has an elongated motion.
And he struggles to diagnose pre-snap read
right
defenses.
Now, especially he's trying to learn this offense, which is completely complex, which is understandable. I think recognizing where both come from is just being honest. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Never once, I'm rooting for Trey Lance the whole time, but you just know that he's struggling, and it's nothing on him. He's just not ready. I mean, at 100%, he's just not ready yet.
I don't know. You can't. If you look at any of the rookie quarterbacks throughout the NFL right now, none of them have looked ready.
Yeah.
I mean, none of the reality of the situation is none of them have looked ready, and that's because they're rookies. They're going to have their moments. They're going to have good moments. They're going to have bad moments. It's going to fluctuate. But right, the idea is the window's open right now. This team can get it done. That's the idea, that the talent is there for you to compete and contend. If you got a quarterback who isn't ready and you're going to put him out there, you're asking everyone to be okay and to roll with that. It's hard. It's hard to want to do those types of things.
Yeah.
JLE, I thought Trey did well under the circumstances. Considering the circumstances, you're not the starter. You're going out there, down a score, well, technically tied at halftime, asking you, to get something to jumpstart the offense. It's tough. It's not an easy situation for the rookie. But there's a reason we went up and drafted this guy where we drafted him, gave him the capital that we gave him, was because we're hoping that he could get there.
Well, I don't think we're saying he played bad. 100%. I don't think I'm not saying he played bad.
He didn't play bad. He played fine.
I think what I'm saying is that unfortunately, it showed some of the weaknesses that he has still, revealed some of those. And you're hoping that he was going to have a little bit more improvement. I mean, I don't know how much opportunity he's had to improve. He hasn't had that much practice time, of course, with the ones, which could be something, they could definitely do that. But yeah, right now, I just think it just revealed that Trey isn't ready and that Jimmy gives us our best chance to win football games right now. But I'm not saying Jimmy Garoppolo is going to win us a Super Bowl or is going to take us to the playoffs. I'm just saying right now he's the best option only because of where Trey's at. It doesn't mean 5, 6, 7 weeks from now Trey won't be better and more equipped. It just means right now.
We've said this. And let's get to Jag. Jag first, the $5 super chat. Jag, we appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. The big question: if Jimmy is cleared physically, does Trey start next week, or do we go back to Jimmy? If Jimmy's healthy, I think you're going back to Jimmy. I think. But the real question is what is he actually dealing with? I'm hearing calf strain. John Chapman was talking about calf strain. They were talking about calf on the broadcast. If it's a calf strain, it could be a few weeks. It legitimately could be a few weeks. We could be in a situation where Jimmy wouldn't be ready until after the bye, which means you're going to get Trey next week against the Arizona Cardinals, the bye week, and then we'll see.
Yeah, and the 49ers could be bottom dwellers in the NFC West. They're already down there, and if they lose to Arizona, they're in a world of hurt at 0-2 in the division. So it's not a good situation to be in.
No.
I feel for Trey. I think this is a tough situation to be thrown out into. Do I think he wants to play? Yeah. But I know he wants to be prepared and he wants to execute at a high level. And it's tough when you're a rookie coming in these type of situations. And I'm sure they're trying to work on it. They're trying to get it done, but it's tough. I don't know. I think that if Jimmy's healthy, Kyle's going to go to Jimmy. But if for some reason if this takes longer, Jimmy might never be back because it might reach a point where it's like, you know what, we just got to roll with the kid and see what he's got, see what he can develop and do this year. Because if you're going to be out a few weeks, that leaves Trey Lance either the opportunity to succeed and take the job, or you reach a situation where it's like, we can't come back from this. Let's just roll with the kid and get prepared for next year.
Man, that seems early. That seems really early to be in that position.
Well, because you would think you wouldn't want to do that until halfway through the football season, right? You're going to have a better idea.
You think?
But if you're 2-4 going into the bye, or 2-3, I'm sorry, 2-3 going into the bye, I guess it's still too early. I still think you start Jimmy against Indy if he's ready to go.
Look, Trey came in and brought energy that no one else was accepting. Jimmy left the game and energy stayed in the locker room. No. That's not what it is. It's not that. It's not that Trey came in and brought the energy and no one was accepting of the energy. Trey is coming in and your team's looking around at a rookie going, "Can you get this done? Like, are you ready for this moment? Because it's a big moment. This is a big game. This was a big opportunity for the 49ers. And this is the exact opposite argument of the exact thing people were saying last week. Right, was that when Trey came in last week, he brought the energy and was the spark plug. Trenton Cannon did his thing, Trey did his thing at the end of the half, and Trey needs more of those opportunities. Well, if that was the case last week, why wouldn't it be the case this week?
The big difference was when Trey came in last week, they knew it was for a play or two. Right. They knew what he does, and those situations can be dynamic. In this situation, he's expected to go out there and make all the plays, and it's a tough situation because listen to Kittle's comments that they said on air was about the way that Trey Lance throws the football and that Jimmy throws a catchable football, and that Trey's football is hard to throw and hard to catch, and he doesn't throw with a lot of touch. Those are real things that these receivers are thinking about. And now they know. They practice with this guy all the time. They know that when they run their routes, maybe the timing's off, and now they've got to get in the right situation. So they know Jimmy. Everyone's been asking, why is this locker room so behind Jimmy Garoppolo? It could be the fact that they all just understand Jimmy Garoppolo gave them the best chance to win right now. And they all believe in Trey and believe Trey is going to be that guy eventually. But I think everyone's wanting to thrust this guy out there maybe before the team and Kyle Shanahan are ready for him to be.
Or even he is ready to be out there. You don't know what's going through that kid's head. And you know that he has to be hearing everything that people are saying. And, call him Pat Mahomes 2.0, and he's the savior of this organization, the savior of this franchise. But look, the reality of the situation is that, in order to be the savior of this franchise, he's got to operate the system that Kyle Shanahan has in place. You're not going to change your offense completely to fit one guy. You are going to take the things that guy does well and fit it into your system.
No, if Trey's starting, you're changing a lot of the offense to tailor around him.
Correct. Well, the play calls, right? The play calls and the positions you're going to put him in.
You even add things because now you've got to put him in situations where he can be successful. And he's not like crazy successful in the pocket, so that means you need to move the pocket. You need to run more outside zone, more RPO. Anything that you can do.
But you don't have any. Who's the guy that can run the outside zone right now? If Elijah Mitchell's not in, you don't have one.
No, but you have you can run the read option still because you have Trey Lance. He's going to freeze the defender. That is the one advantage that he has, and that's why when he was in, at least Trey Sermon was able to find a lot of lanes, to run the football.
It's true. With them stacking the box.
Yeah. The problem is the Seahawks knew once they had a lead, they kind of played off, and allowed Trey Lance to kind of have opportunities, but. They would have done the same thing to Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not saying they wouldn't. In that situation, down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter with like over 4 minutes left, you play it exactly like the Seahawks do. You sag a little bit and you make them throw the ball underneath. You make catches, hit them down, and then you're one onside kick away from winning the football game. So
that's exactly what happened.
I'm not down on them for doing that, and it's not against Trey. He did what he had to do, but. There's a lot that needs to happen with this 49ers offense, and I think what's disappointing is how it started so good. You know what I mean? You really did. It was bang, bang, bang down the field.
The All-22 film is going to be very, very enlightening in terms of what happened after that first drive, because that first drive was fantastic. The way they moved the ball was fantastic. You and I both felt like, hey, this team's got its rhythm right now. Kyle's dialed in. He's got the right game plan. He's got the right idea here. This is good. This is good for the 49ers. This is a good situation. And then it quickly goes downhill. Yeah. Even though the Niners are moving the ball, they're never able to finish and finalize drives.
I see is that snappage? Snappages. He says jet sweep 4th and 2, and he's like, what? You know what that signals to me? Lack of confidence that Trey Lance can convert on 4th and 2.
Let me ask you something, Ant.
Yeah.
If that call gets made for Jimmy Garoppolo, are people upset with Kyle, or are people saying that Kyle doesn't trust Jimmy?
Kyle doesn't trust Jimmy.
So how come people can't keep the same energy when that same exact play is called for someone like Trey Lance on 4th and 2?
Because they don't want it to be on Trey, and that's unfortunate. And there's people that don't want it to be on Jimmy either, right?
Correct.
There are people on both sides of the aisle that just don't want it to be their guy.
But you need, as a 49er fan right now, you need to keep the same energy for your quarterback play. Otherwise, you are never going to enjoy or be happy about anything that this team ever does. You won't be happy until Kyle Shanahan is out the door. And guess what? Once Kyle Shanahan's out the door, you don't know who the next guy is that's walking in through that door. And so for every 49er fan out there right now that's like, Kyle's got to go, Kyle's trash, Kyle this, Kyle that, Kyle this, Kyle that. The minute Kyle Shanahan is no longer in San Francisco, if it's because the team isn't performing well, or it's because Kyle's sick and tired of everything, the organization's sick, the fan base is sick and tired of everything, and Jed York's like, hey, we just need to make a change. The next guy you could bring in could be a Thomasula. Don't forget that. Don't forget that, 49ers fans.
Chip Kelly.
The amount of just absolute nonsense from 49ers fans who are upset with Kyle Shanahan. This team has been stable when not injured and when not plagued by injuries. It's been stable in terms of the roster for the most part. This team is racking up injuries. We have 2 straight losses. The fan base is upset. I get that. All of you, though, that are clamoring, you don't know what's on the other side of that fence. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's painted green, and then you get over there and you realize it's dead, and there's nothing over there at all whatsoever. And then we got another decade of trash before we figure it out again. At least right now, we're on the cusp. We just lost a game by a touchdown when you had Trenton Cannon, who botched a kickoff, and then rather than just stay down, tried to get up and make a play and do something for this team in a situation where it's like, you know what, dude, we don't need that right now. What we need to do is just have this football and have the opportunity to go down the field and score. We just have silly mistakes right now happening at the wrong times, and we have guys getting nicked up that you don't want to see nicked up. You don't want to see Trent Williams get nicked up. You don't want to see Jimmy Garoppolo get nicked up. We don't want to see half of the guys that have already been nicked up for this team already get nicked up. It's literally just a set of unfortunate circumstances, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot at the wrong time.
Yeah, and I see JL, you're right. Mac had the hand injury. That's why the snaps are floating. We've had some weird snaps last week as well. With Alex Mack. I don't know what is going on there overall. And Kyle and them have never talked about it. So, but once again, we had a snap early today to Trey Lance, that put that situation kind of weird and had people off sides with an illegal shift. So there are some things that are happening, off and on that are just weird. But unfortunately, that is something that even goes back to training camp where we had some cadence issues, where they were struggling with cadence a little bit. So I don't know exactly what it is with all of that. But, there's I mean, it wasn't a good game to overall watch from about quarter 2 all the way, to the end, because you just knew that the 49ers were behind the 8 ball a little bit, and they weren't able to get it together. Kyle Shanahan schemed up the beginning of this game very well. In fact, his script, we've talked about his script before. His script early in this game was on point. Jimmy was executing on, at a high level, and till the interception, he was executing at a high level. And I thought that interception's not on Kyle. That's on Jimmy 100%. He's got to see Diggs there. Kittle sat down in the right location. He's got to get him the ball.
He missed the location. He put it slightly. I think it was slightly.
It's not even outside. Slightly. It's like a good yard
or two outside of him.
Yeah.
So he didn't hit him in his spot. He lets the ball drift. It's a little high, so the ball's floating in the air. Jimmy does that. We know that. Jimmy does that at times. Wasn't great, but the Niners got to stop.
Yeah.
So it's no excuse. It really is no excuse for the offense to crumble after that, because the defense did what they were supposed to do. You force the turn. You force the punt. You get the ball back in space. You need to go down and find a way to punch the ball in for some points. We did go down and almost get a field goal.
Yeah.
There's that. But again, for the people who are upset, I was talking to you about this. Play calls and things of that nature, when you get to midfield and you don't have a kicker, play calls change.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer necessarily about, I can just get us into field goal range here and we get some points. There is no field goal range anymore because you don't know what Wisniewski can or can't do, and you have Kyle Juszczyk holding.
Yeah, I mean, the good news, Alex, is if you want to know what the 49ers need to do, just go to Twitter. They will let you know these guys are qualified general managers, qualified coaches, and they all know what should happen in every situation. It's crazy the world that we live in 49ers land. I mean, it is reaction. The one thing I know is I get nervous and I'm hesitant to try to run Kyle Shanahan out of town, because I remember people running Jim Harbaugh out of town. They were ready for Jim Harbaugh to be gone, and then we got Thomas Sula and we got Chip Kelly. Kyle Shanahan came in here, and even from the beginning, it felt like he was getting the plan going. And 2019 happened and gave us an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, and that's really what you're pushing for. Now, so far, we had one season that didn't go well. We understand that after the Super Bowl run. But this year, the 49ers are 2-2, and unfortunately, we're acting like they're 4-12. I just think that we need to be a little bit more patient. Did it go well? No.
Can't be patient, man. No. When you can just instant react and go over the top.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan bringing in a rookie quarterback and trading what he traded to get a rookie quarterback did force this a little bit.
100%.
Because now there are expectations that Trey Lance is going to be, all world and ready to go right away, and it's unfair expectations on the kid. He's not ready to go, whether that is technique. I mean, Schlereth and them are talking about his back foot and back leg not being strong when he's throwing the football. So that's a technique issue. So you've got things that just aren't ready, and that's not even an argument on whether Jimmy G is that guy or not. I don't have to argue that, because that really doesn't matter. It's just who gives you the best opportunity to win football games, and that's really what you're trying to do.
Listen, Megan, that's a great point. Got to stay positive, cutback crew. You do. I mean, look, it's one of those things right now where the frustration is just mounting and it's building for everybody. I know it's building here. I'm frustrated.
Mm-hmm. I'm calm.
You're calm but frustrated.
I was frustrated. Yeah, like I told you,
frustration.
There is an understanding what's going on in the field. Like, I understood what was going on. You could feel it. You could feel the energy from a coaching standpoint. When you have people that you expect to be in the football game, whether that's a quarterback or whatever, there is a change, right? When that guy is out, as soon as Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't in the game, Trey Lance ran a lot more shotgun, right? You've seen Juice with them. They're in the pistol kind of set. They're running a lot more read option. Kyle Shanahan did this with his plan. He ripped it up because the practice plan or game plan is completely limited. The expectations on Trey Lance, are going to be hard and rough. We're going to see what happens. If Jimmy isn't ready to go against Arizona, we'll see what Kyle comes up with for Trey Lance. How much of a different shift in the offense that he's ready to go with. But I knew in this game, in this situation, that there weren't going to be enough opportunities for Trey Lance to win the football game. I told you during the game, I knew, right? I just knew. And it's not so much that it's Trey Lance's fault. You just know when you're going to quarterback change, and it's a big change from the style of quarterback that you have already, that it's going to be a struggle.
Look, Henry, I get it. You're upset. Kyle's been here for 5 years, 4 years of top 10 picks. All of those things are correct. They are accurate. The difference is that Kyle also came in with a very depleted roster. Kyle came in his first 2 seasons and had to acquire the talent in order for this team to be successful, right? In order for this team to try and do something and put something together in order for them to be a team that could have success. When you finally got all of those pieces in 2018 to see what this team could be, you lost the quarterback that you made the move and traded for the season for an ACL injury, a fluke one on the sideline. Okay, that's unfortunate. 2019, the first year you have that group together, everything goes, basically faster than you anticipated. You expected to hopefully be a playoff team, and you're one of the best teams in the league. 2020, you come in looking to build off of that performance, and you have a bunch of injuries. If you really look at the roster that Shanahan has built, and you really want to evaluate what this team is, you have to start from about year 3, that 2018 season, after they've made the move for Jimmy, when that roster is in place. Those first 2 years are the acquisition of talent and laying the foundation to be what you could be in year 3 and year 4. Year 3, the lost season with Jimmy Garoppolo in the ACL. Year 4, the Super Bowl run. Okay? Of those seasons where he's had his roster in place, the team's been healthy for 1. You can blame Kyle Shanahan all you want for injuries.
Yeah.
You can, until you're blue in the face. But you're going to be ignoring just another problem here that is actually the recurring issue here, which is just it's a set of unfortunate bounces and things not going San Francisco's way. Because it's not like these guys, not all of these guys that are getting hurt on non-contact stuff. It's contact stuff. It's contact injuries. Look what happened to Trent Williams today. Trent Williams is a contact injury. His hand gets caught on the interior as a guy's rushing through and splitting a double team. There's nothing Kyle Shanahan can do to prevent that. There's nothing the training staff can do to prevent that. Those things just happen. It's football. Sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. A lot of things haven't gone San Francisco's way in the injury front, in the injury category for a lot of these players. Nick Bosa, last year's ACL injury, it's not a training staff issue. His foot gets caught in the ground as his body is being torqued one direction in space. Like, there's nothing you can do about preventing those types of injuries. Contact injuries that happen are going to happen regardless, and they're going to happen for every team. Sometimes they mount extremely one way and in favor of one group or for a team, and sometimes they go another direction. But if you're going to honestly try and evaluate this team and what this team is, and you can say till you're blue in the face, we've had 5 years, and I'm done being patient. You can be done being patient. That's totally fine. All I'm saying is you don't know exactly what you're asking for. And Red Eye, you brought this up earlier and said, well, the next guy you could bring in could be better. You're right. He could be better. He also could be much worse. It could be much worse than you could possibly imagine. You don't know. So before you go jump to the rash conclusion and the rash decision that I'm just done. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I'm all that. Let's just move on. We'll get a new guy in who knows what he's doing with Trey. The new guy you might bring in may not want Trey Lance. And now you just gave up all of that draft capital to go get a guy who the new person you're installing in is going, I don't see it.
Yeah.
It's not here.
Well, I think what's disappointing is unfortunate. This first half defensive performance is going to be completely not talked about. The 49ers defense in the first half was absolutely fantastic. Emmanuel Mosley, Dre Kirkpatrick played well. Dante Johnson in the slot played fantastic. And you know what? They got out there and they got after it, and they confused Russell Wilson. I mean, there was a point there in the game before the 80-yard drive where it was literally negative 12 yards. That's what Seattle was doing.
The Madden simulation was looking like it was going to be accurate.
The 49ers defense was all over. DeMeco Ryans was all over it. And that 80-yard drive, unfortunately, got some stuff going for them. And I think that, coming out in the second half, we needed to string a couple drives together. Jay Ellie brought up about Trey Lance, running the football the first 3 plays or 4 plays or whatever it was. The thing I'll say is we've talked about this from Trey Lance. Everything except Detroit. His first throw has been a little haywire. And you saw when he got outside the pocket, he threw the one to George Kittle, and it was a little off. And that's not uncommon for quarterbacks when they're coming out with their first play and everything. But he just needed to get it going, and he was struggling. I think Kyle was hoping he could string a couple first downs together, get in plus territory, so that way Trey could feel more comfortable with it, without his back being against the wall of, a possible turnover or just, struggling and having to punt, and he just couldn't do it. So I think there's a little bit of that going into it, just trying to get him with that chemistry. But the defensive line looked really good today, especially early on. They were getting after the quarterback. Maurice Hurst, welcome back. You were a nice addition to the interior part of this defense. Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair flying around again. So overall, I thought it was a good game plan. And yeah, the Trenton Cannon turnover ends up being a huge play in this football game.
Punch in the gut, man.
Yeah, because right there it's 14 points in just over 50 seconds. That can't happen to your football team. And the fact that Trenton Cannon had the next one too, where it also pinned them inside the 20 because he let the ball bounce there at the goal line. Deebo Samuel was returning kicks after that. So it might be sayonara to Trenton Cannon after that. I don't know. That was a rough go for it, and I feel bad because he's actually been doing a very good job as a kick returner. But in this situation, he made a couple of blunders, and it did hurt the 49ers, and it hurt Trey Lance because Trey Lance had to start, in a bad territory, and that defense had to try to hold up, and that's tough to do against Russell Wilson with his athletic ability and overall his precision in passing, where he gets away from DJ, and he gets out there and throws that football, and he throws it on a line. It's an impressive play. It's Russell Wilson doing that Russell Wilson BS, and unfortunately, the 49ers fell victim to it again.
It is. It really is. It's just right. It's wrong situation, wrong time when this stuff seems to happen to San Francisco. You have a big third down situation, third and long. You get one-on-one out in space, and Drake Kirkpatrick gets a PI call late in that game, also to extend drives, which puts points on the board. That's one of the biggest things right now for the 49ers is every time we get a PI call, it feels like every single one of them ends up in what feels like a touchdown. I know not all of them have been touchdowns, but they all have all ended in points for the opposing teams. So we got to find a way defensively that, because we're having good situations, and it's always third and longs, and it's not like third and shorts. Yeah. It's not third and a little bit. It's third and longs in which we're about to get off the field, and those types of things are mounting up not in our favor. I don't know if it's a technique thing. I don't know if it's a ball thing. I don't know if it's just a aggressive thing. They're being too aggressive, when the ball is in the air and not locating soon enough. I'm not sure what it is. But we got to do something to try and clean these things up because we cannot put ourselves in positive situations. First and 10, tackle for loss. Second and 12, sack. And now we're looking at third and 15, third and 16, pass interference call, and all of our hard work goes completely into oblivion. Mm-hmm. We got to stop doing that kind of stuff to ourselves. How can we do that? Oh, frick if I know at this point, man. I don't know. It felt ticky-tack in the game, but I understand why they called it. He gets the hand on the shoulder when the ball's in the air and is close to Tyler Lockett. This was 5-6 years ago. That's not a call now. You're going to get those every time. Every time.
Yeah, I see JLE saying, I think some fans are disappointed with Kyle's play calling because they expected and saw what he could do and has done. You're right. I think that they have seen the, Kyle Shanahan offense operate at a high level, especially in 2019, and that's the expectation. And that's the expectation we need to hold them to. And they underperformed in the first half a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo started hot, but then there was some slow. And like I said, I think it did hurt momentum when Brooks came through and got the sack, and we weren't able to convert on the field goal because I think even walking away with the field goal there in a 10-0 lead, it changes the way you feel. But when that happens, it's kind of like and then the defense goes out there and shuts it down, and you're expecting them to convert on the next drive, and they just don't do it. And they need to be able to convert on drives early in the game, and they're just not able to do it. And then the second half, it's what it is. It is what it is because Trey's going to go out there and do the best he can. Kyle's offense is completely changed. He's trying to, get Trey in situations to be successful, and it's just not there. And they're trying to make things happen. I mean, it was nice. We got a highlight play out of it because the Seattle Seahawks decided to put a defensive end out there on Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel beat the defensive end in a broken coverage for a touchdown, so that's nice.
I gotta tell you, man, that defensive end, Jamal Adams, and he's really good at asking his safeties to cover the things he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, well,
it's wonderful.
And Matt Burgos, injury seasons in a row would mean there's more than one, and we've only had one losing season because we won in 2019. We went all the way to the Super Bowl. So I would just like that to be clear. It's not like there's losing seasons in a row. And if you're putting early seasons injury list when they're building the franchise,
we're 2-2, right? We're 2-2 right now. This is technically a losing season. Might as well chalk it up as a losing season. It's over.
Let's be honest. 8-8 has made the playoffs before. I mean, that was a 17-game season, so you're definitely not out of it yet. I'm not going to talk about playoffs and Super Bowl and all that, but I'm not ready to chalk this thing up as a complete loss yet. Talk to me when we get 7-8 games in this season. If we're looking up at 500, then we got something to talk about.
If we're 2-5 and 2-6 by the time we get to week 9, well, technically week 9 because we'll have the bye week. So if we're week 9 and we're 2-7 or 2-6, then
yeah, you know what these are going to turn into? Trey Lance improvement talks.
Yeah.
How much has he improved from week to week? That's what they're going to come down to.
We're still a ways from that. And I just wanted to shout out to Caleb and Lalo for re-upping channel membership here on the channel. We appreciate both of you guys, re-upping and staying channel members here with us on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it.
Don P. Deuteronomy, you said our D-line is the pressure to hold everything together because the secondary sinks. Did everyone think the secondary stunk today? I thought the secondary overall played pretty darn well.
What did Tyler Lockett do today?
Not a whole lot.
What did DK Metcalf, other than the one touchdown that he had, do today?
I mean, he had a couple. He had the one where he ran the crossing pattern where Emmanuel Mosley got nicked by Jimmy Ward.
He gets rubbed by his own guy, and Jimmy Ward's flying out there to cover nobody.
Yeah. That one was a little but I thought overall they played good, especially in the first half. I thought Mosley and Kirkpatrick were out there competing. Jimmy Ward and Tart were helping in the run area and covering on the back end.
Matt Burgos.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Matt Burgos. Huh? You'll likely blame injuries, if so.
If we're going down?
We're not. Why would we blame injuries? Right? Here's the thing. People get injured in football all the time. So if you get injured and injuries are preventing you from winning football games because you don't have your talent on the field, you still have guys that can go try and win you football games. There are still ways to win football games. It just becomes very hard.
We were the same people that got yelled at last year for saying next man up, and that it was a real thing.
Next man up last year, we were at fault for, but now, us acknowledging the fact that the injuries piling up at key positions is kind of a problem for the team.
Are we going to act like last year didn't happen, though, that all those injuries didn't happen? Like, that's a legit thing. We had the most people on IR in, years, maybe even history.
I think it was history. I think it was history.
So, yeah, that one's a good to go. I have said nothing about injuries this year.
Matt wants to know, then, when do we fire the strength and conditioning coach or the head coach? Just saying.
Did already fire the strength and conditioning coach and replaced him.
They did that in 2018.
Yeah, did that already.
2018 and 2019, it was done. He brought in a new staff, new way to go about handling.
I mean, how are we going to stop Josh Norman from getting a sternum issue or having bruised lungs?
Josh, don't tackle anybody on the outside.
You can't stop contact injuries from happening.
Trent Williams, when someone tries to split a double team, you just let him split it. Don't get your arm caught up.
The argument was better last year, right? Because we had the ACLs and all that. If the training staff argument was better last year, this year that is not as accurate because we don't have guys out for that kind of stuff. Even the sprained ankles that we've been getting have been from contact injuries. We have an injured shoulder to Elijah Mitchell, contact injury. JaMychal Hasty gets hit in the ankle. Contact injury. This is just real. People get hurt playing football.
Matt Burgos, so how do you fix injuries as cause for losing seasons? You don't? You're trying to insulate yourself from injuries.
What the 49ers did in the draft was not draft people that have been injured before.
All you can do.
I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do.
And then they're still getting injured.
Because people get injured playing football.
Because it's football.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. It's football. Look, if the 49ers lose the season, it won't be because it won't be because the team is injured. It'll be because you couldn't overcome the injuries. It's because you couldn't do enough with the pieces you had in order to execute game plans, schemes, win matchups, whether that's one-on-one, just offensive coverage, offense versus defense versus whatever. It's because you didn't have enough pieces to win those matchups. It's not because you're injured, it's because you're not winning with what you have. That happens sometimes. But people who want to put that on a coaching staff, right? You want to put that on if you have guys who are going into the weight room and tearing their body up and not able to do stuff because they're doing things improperly in the weight room, that's on your training staff. That's on your coaching staff. If you have guys, right, in practice during non-contact stuff, their bodies are giving out, tearing ACLs because they don't have strong glutes or whatever, and they're doing non-contact stuff in practice and destroying their bodies that way, that's on your training staff and your coaching staff. Guys are getting hurt in game on contact stuff, like you talked about, Ant. That's what's going on. What do you? What as a coach? What am I supposed to do other than wrap my guys in bubble wrap and tell them not to go out there and play 100%?
Well, I mean, I don't think we've harped on the injury issue except for the running back room. Just knowing that you're short, that's the difference. It just changes the game plan. It's not so much that you're harping on injuries or talking about injuries. It's just real, right? We don't have 3 or 4 guys because they're injured. They're hurt.
So you can't run the football the way you want to.
Yeah.
You can't attack certain areas of the field with the running back room because they're not there.
It's just the way it is. It doesn't mean we didn't think that they should go out there and execute and figure out a game plan to win the game. It just means that that's real. I mean, that's 100%. If you go into a game and you don't have your star running back or you don't have your star quarterback, it changes things. I mean, ask the Giants. They're a lot better team with Saquon Barkley than they were without him.
And now that he's getting slowly closer to healthy, their offense is looking somewhat manageable. And it's crazy. It's almost like they can do stuff. Snappage, Jimmy throws interceptions every freaking week.
Later, David, by the way.
Later, David.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, man, for coming by. We always appreciate it. No one fears him, especially division rivals. Let's leave 2019 where it is. Trey's the future. Let's go. I mean, Trey is the future. Trey is the future. You're not wrong there. He's definitely the future of this organization, this franchise. We'll see what happens. Look at the bum center blocking from CB. Interesting.
The what?
The bum center blocking. It's not the running backs. Look at the bum center blocking.
Okay.
I mean, you should probably come over to the All-22 film, buddy. It's not on one guy on the O-line. There are holes, there are opportunities. Sometimes, running backs are missing stuff, and sometimes you have linemen who are missing stuff and missing some blocks.
I mean,
it's definitely not one guy, though.
Well, we were very clear that the way that Green Bay approached last week and attacking the 49ers offensive line, that Matt got put in situations where, he was struggling a little bit. I mean, we were pretty honest about that, and I think everyone knows that. But overall, I thought early in this game, when the 49ers were executing the offense was rolling. They were all blocking well, and Mike McGlinchey was having a successful game, and that's because he's successful when the other team doesn't know you're going to drop back every single time. When they think that a run is a threat, then it's a different way to play it, and you move the pocket and you move the blocking, and it helps him. He's a better laterally than he is doing a straight kick slide. That's just 100%, and we've been saying it the entire time. And when Mike McGlinchey's asked to just drop back and pass protect every single time, he's going to get beat because that's not his strong suit, but we all know that. There's a give and take. They want him in the run game to be, as good as he is, and they know if they get into those situations, there's a weakness there. Every single one of these players have weaknesses and strengths, and you scheme it up and you add players to your roster to take advantage of their strengths and hide their weaknesses and disguise them the best you can. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it happens and it doesn't. And when you get in situations like this, Mike McGlinchey's weaknesses get revealed. But they know that. Like, everyone knows that. I mean, I don't think it's even, that big of a secret.
No, it's not it's probably not a secret at all, Ant. In all honesty, it's just not the situation at all. I'm looking, Kyle looks like is worried about Trent's shoulder injury. That's what it's sounding like. So we're going to have to wait to see what that is and what that means. Matt, you are correct that there were some injuries to starters that year. Not to their key pieces, though. My guy. They had all their weapons at the running back room. They had all their weapons at the wide receiving core. They had their corners. They had their pass rush. They had...
What was the regular season record?
I think it was like a 500, wasn't it?
Pretty close to, yeah.
500.
They went in as a wild card.
Yeah.
That's why we're 2-2. It's a little too early for all that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just Mitch.
But I've been saying this consistently all week, right? What have I said? It's not about winning wire to wire. It's about where you are at a certain...
It's about getting hot at the right time.
Tampa Bay last year gets hot at the right time and goes in and rolls and wins. I mean, that's how it works sometimes. I'm definitely not...
a lot of the time.
I definitely don't know how this season is going to go. I don't know where we're going with this.
It's not where we want it to be right now.
No,
I can tell you that.
It's actually at a pivotal juncture. I mean, these next two games are important, and I think Arizona is going to be very hard to play against. And then you got to get that bye week. You got to get healthy, and then you get to the Colts game, and that's going to be pretty close to must win. I mean, it really will.
I like this, James Vega with the $5 super chat. I'm overall pleased with what I saw from the O line to the D line, and for the most part, how Lance tried to step up to the pressure. Let's go 49ers and faithful. That's the mindset we got to have right now as a fan base. Like, that's what you need to try and be doing. You can be negative if you want. I mean, everyone's allowed to feel whatever they want to feel about this team and the way they want to feel, but you're just going to be miserable. You're going to hate this team. You're going to hate the coaching staff. You're going to hate some of the players. You're going to not like the things that we're doing, and you're just going to want a complete overhaul and a complete change. And a complete overhaul and a complete change is going to mean a rebuild. That means that you're going to go into a full rebuild. You're going to start selling key pieces. You're going to start trying to develop young players and young guys. And we're going to be what the Jets are right now.
Well, I mean, I think the key is that you never try to fully rebuild like that.
You don't. I mean, the idea is.
I mean, you don't have to rebuild.
No, you don't have to.
Why would you? I mean, we disagree on this because you have Jimmy Garoppolo's contract that comes off the books.
No. Listen, I don't want them to do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying there are people who want that. There are people who want this team. I don't know if they want the team to do that, but they want to just start moving on from certain guys and start doing stuff. I'm seeing people calling for Kittle to be traded because he can't stay healthy either, Ant.
Yeah.
If we're going to start just dealing pieces when they get bumps and bruises and calf contusions throughout the week.
But I mean, in all reality, the same people that are calling for George Kittle to be traded were the same people that clamored for him to be signed to the huge extension.
Very true.
So the people will go both ways, right? They'll have it both ways. They'll just talk however they want to get a reaction. But really what it comes down to is the big talking point for most people is Jimmy or Trey. And that's just going to be a hang up for the entire year until ultimately Once Jimmy Garoppolo is gone, then everyone's going to settle in on Trey, and then it'll be Trey versus Kyle Shanahan.
Correct.
Because if Trey's not having success, it's not going to be Trey Lance's fault. It's going to be Kyle Shanahan. It won't be until Kyle Shanahan is out too, and then it'll be John Lynch's fault that he drafted Trey Lance. There's always going to be someone else to blame.
But see, this is the thing, right? This path that the 49ers are on, the fan base is, taking this path as well, along with this team. Mm-hmm. This leads to not success. This will not be a successful organization. Yeah. This will not lead. This is going to be years of misery for everyone involved.
It's only misery for the fans and people that watch that get caught up in it, because the people in the locker room, they don't get caught up in it. I mean, in 1994,
for the most part, yeah.
In 1994, they don't care.
Well, no. A bad organization lets that kind of stuff seep into the locker room. A good organization does not. An organization
with no leaks. How are there leaks getting in if there's no leaks getting out? It's sealed up.
You're not wrong.
It's hermetically sealed. But they're not worried about this right now. It's 2-2. Are they happy about the situation of being 2-2? Absolutely not. But that's not going to shake them from their overall goal of winning football games and trying to come back and make something happen with this season. It's too early for all that. I mean, if they were looking up and they were 2-5, 2-6, 100%, you start thinking about the future and what you got to do, and you scrap the season. That is not it. The 49ers wouldn't be signing the veteran players that they were signing to play in the secondary if they're ready to chalk this one up to a loss.
No, I don't want them to chalk this up to a loss. It doesn't make any sense for them to do any of those things or to make those types of moves or to even be selling anything right now. The truth is, we will never win with Jimmy or Trey, but we will win with our if we start our tribal chief Sudfeld. Well, you might get to see Sudfeld suit up, so he may be suiting up here in the near future. KNDR.
Yeah, if Jimmy's not ready to go next week, we'll see the number 7 on the sidelines, Nate Sudfeld.
That's true. CB $9.99 super chat. I hope we stick with Lance. Might be rough around the edges, but love the excitement he brings to the team.
Okay,
it's fair.
Yeah, right. I mean he's gonna run around. He's gonna move the pocket. I would be interested to see what Kyle comes up with, because it's going to be a completely different game plan than what you're used to. How defenses play against Trey Lance will be interesting. I would almost think they'll leave the middle completely open.
They're gonna
come at him in the line of scrimmage and then cover too deep on the back end.
There are not going to be a lot of deep shot opportunities, clean one-on-one deep shot opportunities going forward.
No, they got the one, but if you get a breakdown in coverage, yeah. But they will play it differently. With Jimmy Garoppolo, they want to muck up the middle. With Trey Lance, you kind of want to put pressure on him, make him think, and then muck up the back end because he's looking down the field.
Correct. That is it's right. It's the inverse. It's the inverse with Jimmy Garoppolo, where you want to muck up the middle and try to make him take those deep shots. With Trey, it's take away the deep stuff, make him operate underneath because he hasn't shown he can do it consistently yet, or at least make the reads quick enough to get the ball where it needs to be to take advantage of some of your weak points in the middle of the field. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, if he starts, let's see how much he improved in the week. Let's see.
It could be drastic, right? Because he's taking all the reps, he's taking all the snaps, he's the one getting comfortable with the game plan and what the team's doing and where we're trying to put the ball in space. All of those things could shift and change next week. And you got a Cardinals team who's riding very high right now after a big shellacking of the Rams.
Yeah, hey, they had a big win,
huge win for them.
Yeah, it's the first time now we have a team at the head of the NFC West. And the Cardinals got it done. A little bit shocking. I thought that game was going to be a lot closer than it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a tight game, and Arizona went out there and handled business.
They definitely did. And Jay, I don't know what you mean, JLE. Is this the overreaction show? I don't know what overreaction there is. We kind of feel like this team is not where we want it to be, but the season's not over.
Yeah. I don't think the season's over. I'm not going to put them in a Super Bowl category or anything like that, but I'm still hoping they can get to the playoffs.
They haven't earned a Super Bowl category. They haven't earned a top spot in the NFC West category. They've done nothing now
not at all
to make you feel like this is the best team in the NFC West. Did they lose to what everyone was assuming was the worst team in the NFC West? You did today. You did today. But here's the thing, right? It's one of those things right now where one game. It's still only one game. We're still only 4 games into the season. Well, and if you turn around and win next week, then what?
Well, it was a huge game for Seattle.
It was very big for Seattle.
If they would have fell to 1-3, and I mean that would have been very rough for them.
Well, especially they were going to have to turn around on a short week and try and get a W against the Rams.
That's true.
So if you lose to San Francisco, if what happens happens, right? If what happens and the Rams lose like they did, on a short week, the Rams were going to want to stick it hard to Seattle and Seattle would have been, struggling for life. The Rams know we got a 1-3 Seattle team that already has a loss in the NFC West. We have a chance to bury these guys right now at 1-4. Now Seattle, and this game Thursday night now has desperation written for both teams.
Yeah.
Because if the Rams lose, you're sitting at 3-2 after 2 games in the NFC West, and you've dropped 2 games after everyone was ready to crown you as a potential Super Bowl champion, the team that looked like it was going to go all the way. The Rams are in just as much trouble as any other team in the NFC West is right now. The only team that's feeling really comfortable where they sit right now at this point in time is the Cardinals, and then the only one who has the right to.
Yeah, I guess. Every loss is just like you're either way down in the pits or whatever. Every win, you're over the moon. Every loss, you're down in the pits. You lose football games. That's just the way it is. You're going to play 17 games. You're hoping to win more football games than you lose, and that's just how it goes. But no, I'm not going to get too worked up about the Rams losing either, because they could bounce back against Seattle and have a big win, and then everyone's going to be talking about it again. I think it's way too early to talk about Super Bowl. It's way too early to talk about playoffs. All you're talking about is which teams are getting better. Right now, the 49ers aren't getting better.
No.
I've seen some positive things from them, especially in the secondary, that it made me happy, because I think when Norman comes back, now we have 3 viable options on the outside at cornerback. We can let Demo grow a little bit in the inside. Right now, Dante Johnson did good inside. He's not good outside, but you put him in the inside and he plays well. And I thought those were good things, because the big talking point coming out of Green Bay was Devontae Adams by himself pretty much wrecked us. Then you come in here and DK and Lockett, the 49ers played against DK and Lockett a lot better. So that gives you at least a lot of hope that the next time you play him, you can handle him. The only problem is now you got to go against Arizona, and they just have receivers out the wazoo. Everywhere you look, they got another big-time dynamic player that can make a play. That one's going to be rough. So if ever a secondary was going to be tested, it's going to be next week. So, that one's going to be fun to get into for sure.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens just going forward with this team and the direction this goes and what happens next week, because, Seattle came into this game and it wasn't desperation, but it was definitely an important game for them. Really important for them to get off to a better start and get themselves closer to being a team who could be 500 and at least in contention in the conversation with the NFC West, and not put themselves, behind the 8 ball. San Francisco now is in a similar boat, because you now have another NFC West opponent. You don't want to drop your first 2 in the NFC West.
No.
And you don't want to move to 2-3 heading into that bye week. You would love to be 3-2 now, somehow salvage this first 5 games of the season, come out of this thing 3-2, go into your bye week 6, come out prepped, ready to go for the Colts and what they're going to be bringing to the table, and a team that has weaknesses that you can also expose. These last 2 games have been winnable games. Mistakes have cost us. Poor decision making, poor execution have cost us. It's time to get those things cleaned up. They got to find a way to get these things cleaned up and not shoot themselves in the foot in key situations. Because it's one thing, Ant, when it's 3rd and 14 and you don't execute and now you're off the field and you have to punt. It's another thing when it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, right? Or it's 3rd and 12 on the defense and you're about to get off the field and get the ball back and get some momentum, and you do something to extend a drive, or you do something to make it go from 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 14 to now 3rd and 5, or in the situation for the 49ers, right? 3rd and 6, we're getting off the field, neutral zone infraction, now it's 3rd and 1. It's a lot more manageable for the opposing team. Those situations we have to negate those as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, and we gotta figure this offense out. It seemed like in Philly and then against Green Bay that the second half offense was very good. They were able to execute at a high level, and this week we didn't get to see that offense happen. There was a big change, and you just never got that offense going. Trey Lance, I was excited that he made the play to Debo down the field, and then ultimately, leads a drive that hopefully builds confidence and building into Arizona, so that way he can get it going. I'm curious what Kyle schemes up for him. They're gonna have to find some ways to put him in good situations. His first throw, they need to hopefully get him outside the pocket, where he can get the ball out. They tried it today, it didn't work. But Trey's gonna give us some opportunities with his feet. I'm hoping that he'll keep his eyes down the field a little bit more, but when he needs to, go and run. But I'd rather see him creating with his legs on pass downs and not running so much on design runs, because I just don't want him to, running the ball as much. He's going to take enough contact as it is. So, but we'll see what they come up with. They're going to have to come up with something to defeat this Arizona defense. It'll be exciting getting into the All-22 film and seeing what was there. because I am looking forward to breaking down this all 22 second half for sure.
The second half for sure. I want to see what happened after that for those first drives and what maybe the Niners missed, what Jimmy missed, what Kyle missed. What Seattle's defenses, what adjustments did they make after that opening drive in which the Niners just cut through them like Swiss cheese, and it felt like it was going to be a great day for the 49ers offense. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was going to be one of those days, boys. We're going to put up 50. And it's going to be good times for everybody. Ant's Wow That's Bold was off to a hot start. Shoot, my Wow That's Bold for the defense was off to a hot start. A sack and a half for D Ford through the first, 3 drives of the football game? I was like, he's going to get 2.5. Easy, boys. Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much after that.
Yeah, I mean, Bosa got Russell Wilson for the first time. He hadn't got to Russ before, and he got home. Yeah, they were putting a lot of pressure on, and the defense. I mean, once again, I thought early on in this game, D'Amico Ryans really schemed it up in a big way, and the defense went out and executed. And I think that is what we got to focus on, because if the defense can continue to execute for the remainder of the season, they're going to keep the 49ers in opportunities to win. Because not every team has a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Unfortunately, teams like that we're going to be going against next week have a Kyler Murray, which has proven to be even difficult because he can get outside the pocket and create with his legs. But thankfully, on the horizon is Carson Wentz. So
true.
Yeah,
it's true.
And that will make me feel a little bit better.
A smidge.
Yeah.
Smidge, except last year he beat us. Granted, it was Nick. Touche. Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins beat us, but hey,
Nick Mullins literally completed as many touchdown passes as Carson Wentz in that game.
It's just upsetting.
To the Eagles.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Hey, if they gave Ford 2 sacks, then I'll take it, James. I was super close to
it was close whether they gave him that sack or if it was Kinlaw, because Kinlaw had his hands on him, and then Ford came in and cleaned it up. So yeah, I'm curious if that's 2 sacks or 1.5.
We'll see what happens.
Either way, it was a good performance for him early on in that game.
Absolutely was. Gary, it is. This is a tough game to swallow. The last couple have been. It was really, really, really rough. Really rough the last couple of weeks. The faithful's been taking a beating. Cutback crew taking a beating.
Yeah.
We're taking a beating. We don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like it when our team's not winning. I don't like it when our team's not executing. I don't like it when our team,
so you're a fan and you want your team to win.
I want us to win. I don't really care.
Dare you?
I don't really care how either, to be honest with you.
I know. I don't either.
Hey, when we got to halftime, it was 7-7. I was like, bro, if we are somehow managed to get a Mitch Wishnowsky field goal for the win, and that's what wins us the football game, and we win 10-7, I don't care. I do not care at this point. Just get out of this game with a W. When Trey came in and he was struggling early, I was like, oh, okay, all right, you know what? Take a deep breath. Yeah. It's fine, right? Kyle will find a way to get something going for the offense. Seattle scored. They went up. I was like, this isn't great. But when Trenton Cannon was getting the kickoff, I was like, all right, Trenton Cannon gets a decent return, right? Gives us some positive field position here. All it's going to take is Seattle to get aggressive at the wrong situation, right? Wrong time, send a blitz. Kyle dials up some sort of deep shot here, and we know Trey can throw the deep ball. We get one big play, Ant, and all of a sudden, all the momentum's in our favor. The defense can step right back up, and this is W City, because we'll probably go for 2. Maybe we convert the 2-point conversion, and we're up 15-14. I was like, what if we just win 15-14? I'll take a 15-14 win. I don't care if we just run the clock out the rest of the freaking game. I don't care how. I just want that W. That's all I want is that W. It sucks because we had opportunities. We shouldn't have been. It shouldn't be 7-7 at halftime the way this game was going and what this team was doing. It shouldn't have been.
No, it shouldn't have. The offense had opportunities to score points. Special teams had opportunities to score points, and they didn't do it in the first half. And you can't let Russell Wilson hang around. I mean, they did nothing in the first half besides the final drive, and yet the 49ers let him hang around. And in fact, when they got the ball with like 50 seconds left, I honestly thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be losing 10-7 at half because Russ was going to do Russ things, and the defense stiffened up and made a play.
Sure.
So big ups to that defense. Big up to D'Amico Ryans for playing tough. There is no circumstance where this defensive performance shouldn't have been enough to win this football game. The 49ers should have done a lot better on offense, and they didn't. Whether that is squarely on Kyle Shanahan or, the fact that it's Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the offensive game plan. They got to figure this out. They got to get it going. But it's still early in the season.
Realistically, the defense gave up 21 points. Realistically. 3 actual drives from Seattle, and then Seattle got spotted, essentially a 15-yard opportunity drive. You get spotted at an instant red zone without their offense having to do any work or them having to earn it in any way, shape, or form. This loss can't fall on the defense's hands.
Part of a good defense is having an offense that consistently stay on the field.
That too.
If the defense does, you limit the amount of opportunities Russell Wilson has to attack you, and if you do, you're going to have opportunities to score points on offense, and defensively, you're going to stop the offense from scoring. But once the offense for the 49ers isn't rolling and they're not on the field, then it creates more opportunities for the opposing offense to go against this defense, which decreases your chances of holding them to a lower score. So they gotta make sure this offense is rolling, and that'll help the defense a whole lot.
It definitely will. Cutback crew, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We love y'all. Sucks. It's not what we were hoping for. It's not what we were expecting. But hey, we got an opportunity to fix this. We got an opportunity to clean it up. We got an opportunity to take a look at the film. We're going to dive into the things we need to dive into. The 49ers are going to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And everyone's going to try and get themselves in the right mindset to take care of the Arizona Cardinals. Get yourself to 3-2 and find a freaking way to come into this bye week with some momentum heading into that Indianapolis Colts game. 0-2 at home. Didn't think that I would be saying those words, Ant, after this game.
It's eerily similar to last year. 49ers couldn't win at home at Levi Stadium. It has nothing to do with the crowd because they were rocking today. The faithful was there in a big way, and they were making their selves known and having an effect on Russell Wilson early in this game. So the fans did their part, and the 49ers defense did early on, but this offense just couldn't get it done, couldn't get rolling. Let's see if they can get it going, whether that is with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm or Trey Lance. Either way, I don't care. One of them play well so we can win football games.
Just want a W.
Because I just want to win. I don't care who's pulling the trigger on it. If it needs to be Sudfeld, let it be Sudfeld. I don't care. Win the game.
Win the gosh darn game, folks. We're going to chalk this one up. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for 49ers Face-Off. That's going to be spicy. And until then, stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.